Emma Berry and Spencer Alexander.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is James Berry. I'm the Director of Fine Arts at Hilton Head Christian Academy, also the Camp Director of the Hilton Head Jazz Camp, and I'm on the board of the Junior Jazz Foundation. Let's give it up for Emma and Spencer. Before we start tonight's program, I just wanted to share a couple of words and just thank you all for coming. So Emma and Spencer, I actually met them. Well, Emma's my daughter, so I've known her my whole life. But Spencer, I met. He came as a high school student to jazz camp probably about 8 years ago, and I think he had green hair or something and was really into punk music. But what was really great is we were able to support him in coming, help him with scholarship, and the Community Foundation of the Lowcountry, supporting the Junior Jazz Foundation with a partnership has been a huge part of that. And Emma, she received a scholarship last year in going to college, the Dominique's Musicians Corner Scholarship, which is also under the umbrella of the Community Foundation. And that has made a tremendous difference in supporting her education and arts education. So I've been involved with the Junior Jazz Foundation since 2011. That's when we started our Hilton Head Jazz Camp. It was very small back then. We had 9 students. Pretty much 3 of them were sisters, and so we really had 7 students or something. But anyway, it was really small, and Bob and Lois Masteller, what was really cool is they had a vision for the Junior Jazz Foundation, and our visions kind of aligned in supporting music education, advocating for the arts, and they came alongside and they said, let's help make this bigger, let's really grow this program. And in 2012, we grew to 25 students, and we started bringing in more faculty, and we've gotten to the point this past year, in 2025, we had 130 students in 4 different camp programs, which is amazing. So we're coming up on our 15th year. We're going to be celebrating the music of Aretha Franklin this summer, and it's more important than ever to support students to make this camp accessible for all and to support the arts. And I just wanted to say these 2 are such a great example of being supported in the arts, and they continue to be musicians as they enter into their 20s. And it's just such an exciting thing to see students go all the way from middle school through high school and then into college and into their career being supported by their artistic endeavors. So thank you so much for having them play. Thank you for having me say a few words. And if you want to check out the Hilton Head Jazz Camp, support the program, and tell someone about it, you can visit hhjazzcamp.com. Thank you so much.
Please welcome your MC for the evening, WSAV news anchor Andrew Davis.
Good to see everybody out there, and thank you so much for being here for the Community Foundation of Lowcountry's 2026 Annual Community Meeting. I am Andrew Davis from WSAV. Just in case you don't watch TV anymore, like some of the people out there, I'll tell you who I'm not. I'm not going to be one of the people for the next 6 months that's asking you for a vote. So, nor am I the people who you call when you get into the accident on the side of the road. So, I'm the one in between those things. So. But I'm honored to be here again for this incredible meeting, the great performance. Also, please, one more time for the Junior Jazz Foundation. The Junior Jazz Foundation is one of 600 charitable funds administered by CFL, and CFL has granted over $10 million to the arts and culture organizations and programs since its inception. Of course, CFL, a community leader and partner, fostering positive philanthropic outcomes in Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties for over 30 years now. CFL works with donors, organizations, and residential communities to make their philanthropic dreams a reality. Now, this year's annual community meeting, a bit different than the previous years. Instead of a traditional keynote speaker, a new CFL president and CEO, Aaron Falk, is going to take on a dual role as a featured speaker, and then he's going to do a little Q&A with me as well. And a CFL annual community meeting would not be complete without the presentation of the Joan and Wade Webster Community Impact Award. Every year, that award selection committee's decision becomes more difficult. The impressive group of nominees puts a spotlight on the incredible charitable community that we definitely are very fortunate to live in. Following tonight's program, make sure you stay for the networking reception in the lobby. Definitely a great chance to introduce yourself or reconnect with a lot of different people who care about the Lowcountry just as much as you do. CFL staff and board of directors members will also be available to chat with outside. Now, speaking of the board of directors, I'm not up here to talk, promise. It's my pleasure to welcome to the stage CFL board chair, Lynn Jennings-Taylor.
That spot gets more narrow every year. Just saying. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I welcome you all here today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day. We're thrilled that you're here with us. This is a celebration of community. This is a celebration of joy. You're not going to hear any bad news today. That stays outside. This is all good news. So relax and enjoy some good news for a few minutes with us. This meeting would not be possible if we didn't have some generous sponsors to help us underwrite the costs of it so that it could stay free. So like the Oscars, I have a few thank yous. Not as many, but a few. We'll start with the Dividend Assets Capital. Thank you for returning as our reception sponsor this year. We appreciate your partnership and your continued support. We hope you all join with us afterwards. It really is a lovely time to, as Andrew said, celebrate and network. We'd also like to thank our gold sponsors, Palmetto Electric, the Sea Pines Resort, silver sponsors Carolina Low Voltage, Charles Sampson's Charter Group Charter One, Chatham Capital Group, Fund Evaluation Group, Oak Advisors, and the Surge Restaurant, who will be catering the networking party afterwards. And thank you, Andrew. You know, you just always show up for us when we need you, and as you do for just about every not-for-profit in the region. We appreciate your commitment greatly. Gatherings like this remind us something very important. The Community Foundation of the Lowcountry is not just an organization. It is a network of people who care deeply about this region and its future. Every one of you in the room plays a part of strengthening our community. For more than 30 years, the Community Foundation has been building a legacy rooted in generosity, collaboration, and impact. As our most recent annual report notes, we are focused on cultivating futures and enriching lives. Those words capture both the gratitude we feel for the strong foundation we built over the past 3 decades and the excitement we have for what lies ahead. And when we look at the past year, there's certainly a great deal to celebrate. The generosity of this community continues to boggle my mind. Over 5,400 donors made more than 12,000 gifts, totaling $15.5 million in charitable contributions, supporting the hundreds of funds that make up the CFL family. Those dollars represent far more than just the number. They represent people who believe in the power of giving back. They represent families creating legacies. They represent businesses and organizations stepping forward to strengthen the communities where we live, work, and raise our families. We also saw continued growth in philanthropy through the creation of 40 new charitable funds this past year alone. Each one reflects a donor's passion, whether that passion is supporting education, protecting our environment, expanding access to health care, providing human services, or ensuring vibrant arts and culture in our region remain. Your vision creates charitable funds that enrich all of our lives. And thanks to thoughtful estate planning, our Legacy Society now includes more than 120 individuals who have chosen the Community Foundation of the Lowcountry as a partner in carrying out their legacies into the future. Of course, generosity alone is only part of the story. The true measure of our work is how we put these resources to strengthen our community. Through the community investment efforts, we partner with not-for-profits across Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties. We award grants that address local needs and create opportunities for people throughout the Lowcountry. Then each year, our competitive grant process distributes well over $1 million to nonprofit organizations supporting work that touches every aspect of community life, from housing and healthcare to education and essential services. But funding is only one piece of the puzzle. Strong communities require strong nonprofit organizations. And this is why CFL is especially proud of the progress made by the Echtel Center for Nonprofit Excellence, which recently completed its first full year of programming. Through leadership training and capacity building workshops, the Echtel Center helped over 65 nonprofit organizations strengthen their leadership, governance, and ability to serve the community. I saw Dave Echtel out there. Could you just give us a wave, Dave? Thank you so much. At the same time, we continue investing in the next generation. Your generosity fuels scholarships that open doors for students, much like you just heard with the Jazz Center. Last year alone, the Community Foundation awarded over $1.3 million in scholarships to 230 different students. Those scholarships are more than just tuition assistance, as you just heard. They are about opportunity. They are about helping talented young people pursue their dreams and hopefully bring their skills and leadership back to the Lowcountry after they're finished with their education. And tonight you'll hear from one of those remarkable scholarship students making a difference in the Lowcountry, which I think is always one of the highlights of the afternoon. One of the most important roles of the Community Foundation is as a convener. We bring together donors, nonprofit leaders, public officials, professional advisors, and community partners to turn ideas and generosity into meaningful impact. When those connections happen, extraordinary things become possible. For over 30 years, CFL has played a key role in helping find solutions to some of the region's most critical issues, and we have played an active role in addressing affordable workforce housing, the crisis here in Beaufort County and in Jasper. CFL created an affordable workforce housing fund. We've hosted housing symposiums, and we've provided financial support to organizations like Coastal Community Development Corporation, or CCDC, which purchases existing homes in our area and offers rents that serve a wide range of our workforce based on household income. The target really is our nurses, our teachers, our police, and our fire. They need a place to live, and they don't need to drive an hour and a half to get here. We are encouraged that there are now multiple affordable housing ventures in development, as many of you have read from the town of Hilton Head, and a positive change in the region's efforts to address the affordable housing challenge continues, and we're very pleased to be a significant partner in that effort. I want to thank you for believing in the mission of the Community Foundation of the Lowcountry to build community by connecting people, resources, and needs. And thank you for being part of this journey with us. Obviously, we couldn't do it alone. We've accomplished a great deal, but the future ahead, I believe, is even brighter. None of this happens without the incredible Community Foundation Lowcountry team. We are extremely fortunate to work with an exceptional group of volunteers who serve as the governing body of CFL. They are truly an extraordinary group that dedicates limitless hours to the Community Foundation. Will the current board of the CFL directors who are here with us today please stand for recognition? Thank you. I'd also ask former board members to stand. They're part of our Directors Council and continue to support us and volunteer on our committees. So the former members of the board, please stand. The continuity of your leadership is very important to the Community Foundation's success. We couldn't be here without you. Last but most importantly, the CFL staff continues to amaze me on a daily basis. They are why we are successful. They are who you interact with when you have questions and needs. They are the ones who make CFL what it is today. It's a small but committed staff who work tirelessly to advance the mission of our organization, to support you, our donors, nonprofits, and scholars. I ask them to stand, be recognized. And a special shout out to Rob Enamorado, sitting back there trying to hide, for all of his efforts to make today happen. You'll be able to sleep tonight. Finally, the newest CFL staff member has a lot to do with the theme for this year's annual community meeting. New chapter, forward momentum. As many of you know, former President and CEO Scott Weirman retired at the end of the calendar year after 5 years as President and CEO. He returned to be with his family in Winston-Salem. Aaron officially joined the staff in January of this year following a comprehensive nationwide search led by the executive search team of Kittleman. We had 98 candidates for the position, and Aaron won. Aaron was selected after impressing the CFL search committee, of which I was a member, and he had a long way to travel to the Lowcountry. We found him in Bakersfield, California. That is one long drive, and I'd welcome him to the stage now. Aaron.
Good afternoon, everybody. That was good. I don't get that kind of reception at home. I want to start before I dive into my remarks. The work that the Community Foundation of the Lowcountry does is very important. On top of managing the funds that people have put with us, we are plugged in with all of the work that the nonprofits are doing. We're an important stakeholder in a lot of community activities. We're involved in education. This is an important job that we have. We've got a great team that's doing it, which we just recognized. I've got a magnificent board of directors. I didn't know at the time that there were like 100 other people that were trying for this job. And so to have been selected, it's at the same time, it's something I'm proud of, but I'm very humbled by it. And I want to thank the board for putting their trust in me with this. And I promise I'm not going to let you down. Now, I did come into a very good situation with strong momentum, which we're going to carry forward. And I must say, since getting here in January, I love the Lowcountry. I was so excited to move here. It's a subtropical paradise. It could be outdoors just about every day. You know, there's these golf courses, you've got these beaches, all these amazing trails and wildlife preserves, and I drove across the country, and then it snowed on me. I didn't have any doubts, though, no doubts. The people here have been amazing. The Southern hospitality is real, and I feel it every day. The value of the Lowcountry is obvious. We have great people in a truly special region. In my first couple of months on the job, I've made it a point to go to the 4 counties that we serve. I've had lunch in Yemassee and Walterboro, did an oyster roast in Bluffton. Everybody, by the way, has their little oyster switchblade, and they gave me a butter knife, and I still got into them. I toured OpFob in Ridgeland. We're going to learn about them. Met with United Way in Beaufort. Met with the city leadership for Hardeeville, and even managed to be on a winning team at a golf tournament at Harbortown already. Shout out to my teammate Alex at Dividend Assets Capital there. I'm so excited to explore every inch of the Lowcountry. So a little bit about me. As Lynn said, I'm from Bakersfield, California. That's about 100 miles north of LA in the Central Valley. A lot of agriculture, a lot of oil. It is similar, our current county is very similar to the Lowcountry in that the same 5 or 6 zip codes are where 75 to 80% of the wealth is concentrated. As you leave Bakersfield and you move out into the county, you go into rural areas where you have, and a lot of times, generational poverty, underinvestment, and a portion of the population that hasn't been able to keep up with the crazy growth that's happened in Bakersfield. So I'm taking that experience and I'm bringing it out here with me. I think that's going to be important. I did my undergrad at UC Santa Barbara. I've got my MBA from Cal State University Bakersfield. So that's UCSB and CSUB, which I understand is going to be confusing here. I was also able during my time working in DC to do the U.S. Air Force Air Command and Staff College, which is a mid-career education program for officers. They let me do that as a civilian. I did work a series of sales jobs and play semi-pro golf before college. After college, I worked for over a decade in Congress. I worked at the House Armed Services Committee, and then I worked for leadership in both parties. To my knowledge, I'm the only person outside of security that's worked for both Nancy Pelosi and Kevin McCarthy. Working in DC was nuts. Was very fortunate to have a front row seat to persuasion, negotiations, and decision-making at the highest levels. It's also where I met my wife. I have a distinct memory on like my second or third day at the Armed Services Committee, and sitting there at the front desk, taking notes, answering phone calls, and this little brunette fireball just like shoots past me to go in to talk to my boss. And I remember thinking like, wow, who is that? I'm gonna marry her. And it turned out she was gonna be my supervisor. Might have broken some HR rules, but right when I saw her, I knew this was the one. It took me about 3 years to convince her of that. But we're married. She is now in Hilton Head, and she is at home with our 6-year-old daughter, Mia. So shout out to Mia as well. After we got married, we knew we wanted to buy a house and start a family, but since neither of us are independently wealthy, we weren't going to be able to do that in Washington, D.C. So in 2017, we drew the line in the sand and said, we're going to eject out of here and move to my hometown, which again was Bakersfield, California. During that process, as I was saying my goodbyes, somebody from Kevin McCarthy's staff was like, you're a constituent? Like, yeah, actually I am. And so as I'm driving across the country, I get the phone call from Kevin saying, hey, I need you to come run outreach in my local office. Can't say no to that. And that was a great job. I did that for several years. And that gave me a chance to buy a house and have a baby, and that's when I got my MBA. For over 4 years doing that, I really got to learn the dynamics of dealing with problems at the local level. Now, I wasn't 100% sure what my next career step was going to be. I knew I still wanted to make my community better, but Congress wears on you. And it turns out, some people sincerely don't like our government. These people have very creative and artful ways to express their displeasure. After several dangerous encounters working in that job, it was time to see what was next. And late 2021 is when I began my transition into philanthropy. It was a bit of serendipity that I was approached by the board chair at Current Community Foundation to see if I wanted to come in and apply for that CEO role. And I was like, hey, that's great. And then like many of you, it was immediately, what's a community foundation? Well, it turned out to be my dream job. So let me tell you why I love community foundations. Over a decade working in Congress taught me that most local problems are best solved locally. One-size-fits-all federal or even state solutions are expensive and usually ineffective at a national level. I've seen it firsthand. In California, we have now spent quadrillion dollars on homelessness, and it's just getting worse. And don't get me started on the Pentagon budget and the amount of extra spending in there that's not accomplishing what the taxpayer is asking it to accomplish. Now, the federal government knows this. They know that a lot of these problems are best solved by people and organizations on the ground in their community. That's why you get a tax break for donating money to a registered 501c3. The whole idea is that the government might be able to solve this problem, but they want to encourage us to solve these things on our own in a manner that best fits where we're at. The challenge, though, is how do you get the most from your giving? How do you know which nonprofit is the best fit? How do you demonstrate your impact? How can they demonstrate their impact back to you? Who do you trust with your money? That's where I think community foundations are a genius vehicle for local giving. People and organizations can start a fund, put money in that fund when it makes sense for you, take your tax break. We can pool that with all of the other funds and invest it. And then at the end of the year, you can grant out those earnings without ever touching the principal. An endowed fund with a community foundation can literally be a positive force forever. Now, at a community foundation, we build a small but mighty team of professionals, which we saw up there, to responsibly manage the money, make sure we're following all the laws and policies, and strengthen our local nonprofit sector. We give away money either through a competitive grant cycle or at the request of a fund holder. We help you have the impact that you think the Lowcountry needs. I promise to you that we're going to remain focused on delivering that same high-quality service to all of our stakeholders and continue to bring positive change to the Lowcountry. So how are we doing right now? As we saw, pretty good. We're currently at just over $120 million in assets. In 2025, we granted out over $15 million. That's well over the 5% of assets that you might see at a lot of private foundations. That tells me that the community here, not only are they giving the money into these funds, but they're turning right around and investing it in the community. I can't tell you how refreshing it has been as I've been meeting many of you in here to see how quickly people want to give and how they're ready to answer that call when something comes up. In 2025, we granted out over $15 million. We have almost 600 different funds, and we have 13 staff. Now, I think we're currently right-sized to meet our fiduciary obligations and our community impact goals. But, of course, we want to grow. We want to grow our impact. We want to grow our footprint off the island. We want to be an important part of why the Lowcountry is a desirable place to live, work, and visit. So what does that look like for Community Foundation of the Lowcountry? Well, the mission and the vision will continue. We're going to strengthen community by connecting people, resources, and needs. In the long term, CFL is a committed philanthropic partner, providing leadership, support, and resources to ensure that all people within our region are thriving. We're going to continue to serve the 4 counties of the Lowcountry. We're going to continue our focus on community awareness, on financial strategies to achieve long-term impact, capacity building programs like the Ekdahl Center for Nonprofit Excellence. We're going to be collaborating across public and private sectors and growing our leadership role in the Lowcountry, especially on affordable housing. We're going to grow our assets so that we can grow our impact. We're going to capture the data from that impact, and we're going to use that to tell the stories of all the generous men, women, neighborhoods, nonprofits, and companies that partner with us to benefit the Lowcountry. We're going to work with all of you to continue to make this a better place. Thank you all for joining us today, and I look forward to your questions with Andrew Davis.
We'll put Aaron in the hot seat a little bit here first, so.
The shiny forehead seat.
Yes, very shiny, so it works that way. Well, the first one, I've got to get into the hard-hitting journalism first. Where are you on grits? You're a California guy.
So while I have an adventurous palate, but I have not made it down to the grits part of the menu. How do I know that I'm going to get good grits? What am I looking for?
Well, that's a question for somebody else than me, because if I start in that, I'm going to have 47 people in the audience telling me something different. So watch my cousin Vinny. They'll tell you about that first. So. How about sweet tea?
Sweet tea's fine. Yeah, it's a good way to make an Arnold Palmer. All right.
He's going to fit right in here. If he puts some vodka in it, he'll definitely fit right in.
That makes it a John Daly, right?
So, yeah, I think you're right. So, but welcome to the area. I mean, I know it's a big change from California, certainly, but what was it exactly about the Lowcountry that really brought you down here? I mean, you talked a little bit about it with the family and what you wanted to do, but why this area specifically?
Sure. So since the 90s, my first video game I ever had was Lynx 386 on a computer. It came with 5 golf courses on them, and one of them was Harbor Town.
I didn't even play golf yet.
But this had been on my radar forever, and as I got into golf too, I mean, you can't open a travel or a golf magazine without seeing, the Hilton Head, Lowcountry area. So that had been on my radar. My wife's family as well is scattered throughout the Southeast and the Mid-Atlantic, and so we'd been trying to come to this area anyway. But it was funny, I was driving to Fresno, which is totally worse than Bakersfield if you're in California. And I get this phone call from a Chicago number, and I answer it, and it's a gentleman from Kettleman, and he said, hey, we're looking at you for the Community Foundation of the Lowcountry, which is headquartered in Hilton Head. And I hung up on him. It's like, no, sir, I'm not giving you my checking account. I'm not buying any Bitcoin. No, and thank God he called me back. Because when he said it was real, and I looked him up, and I looked up the foundation, it was like, holy cow, this is my dream. Like, this is my dream. And came out here, for the interview and drove around, and even in the dead of winter, it was just, like, first of all, there's trees everywhere. Like, oh my gosh, coming from California where we got like 6 trees and they're on fire half the time. Just driving around is so amazing. You can't even see the Walmart from the street. It's like back behind the trees. Great education system. I've got a 6-year-old daughter. She's the most important thing in the world for me. I got to tour the early childhood center. Top notch. You guys are spoiled here with that. This had been on my radar, and there was no way when life gave me this kind of opportunity that I wasn't going to take it.
That's great. So, have you gotten a chance to play Harbor Town yet?
Yeah. We played in the sponsor tournament. Again, our friends sponsor today, Dividend Asset Capital, invited me to play on their scramble team, which we won.
So he's a ringer, so keep inviting him back, apparently. Well, 2 months in, what exactly have you learned about the Lowcountry coming in here from California and the Community Foundation in general?
First of all, the region, the environmental diversity is top notch, and that's coming from California. But oh my gosh, the people. I learned a new acronym. I thought I was done with acronyms when I left government, but PIPs, and previously important persons, where I will be talking with somebody that we're working with, and they'll have a very interesting take on something, and I just know you because maybe you're volunteering at VIM or something, and it turns out that, oh, also you ran the biggest, hedge fund in Wall Street or something. You never know it talking to them.
Yeah.
But these people come down here, and they get plugged in, and they even if they're not from here, they want to have a positive impact. And everywhere I've gone, it's been like that sense of community, that desire to leave this place a better place than you found it. I knew there was going to be some of that, but I have been surprised at the strength and the breadth of it.
Yeah, I think we have more former CEOs per capita than any place else in the United States. So you want to really build a broad coalition of everybody, of community stakeholders, especially when it comes to critical local issues.
Yeah, well, you have to, right? I don't think anybody can wave a magic wand and just solve some of these problems. And the Community Foundation, we don't provide a whole lot of actual services. We do some nonprofit training, and we will help people with their grant cycles. But where we're valuable is as a convener and a collaborator, because we're the only group that's really talking to all of the different pieces of this while it's going on. And that can be a long-term project like housing or education, but that can be right after a hurricane or a tornado or something. And who is the center of gravity here that it doesn't necessarily need the money ourselves? We can be that trusted partner to facilitate all of the giving that's going to happen right after that. If these were simple problems and one person or one organization could solve them, that would have happened already. Knowing that that's not going to be the solution, you have to have everybody has to have a voice in this process.
Yeah, that's so important to have that somewhere. One of the things that CFL has done very well is try to do some of the educational programs for the board of directors and the CEOs of some of these other agencies, especially local nonprofits. Is that something that's on your radar, and would you like to continue that, and how will you continue that?
Yeah, I think that's critical. We're very fortunate to have Mr. Ekdahl supporting the work that we're doing on that. We are talking with the people and the businesses that are writing checks to our local groups. We're working with our local groups on making the best use of that because we want the giving to continue, and frankly, we want the problems to get better. So I don't know how you do that if you're not also have a vested interest and an active role in the health of the nonprofit sector and the broader ecosystem. So yeah, it's going to continue to grow. It's going to evolve. We're going to keep meeting the needs we're currently meeting on the executive leadership, but at some point, somebody's going to have to talk to organizations about how to integrate AI. Somebody's going to want to talk to groups about how, if your organization is run by 3 retirees and you're trying to reach school children, who's running your TikTok? Things like that. There's plenty of opportunity for growth there, and I think it's just something that adds value to what the Community Foundation can do for the region.
Yeah, because beyond AI, though, executive directors have so much to do. What kind of recommendations do you give them, or what kind of help do you give them, do you think, through your role?
It can vary, right? So you'll have nonprofits at different levels. You've got your, for lack of a better word, your corporate nonprofit. So let's say a Boys and Girls Club or a United Way, where you've got a talented local team, but there is a deep bench of governance and you've got other resources or support systems. But then you might have something that's sprouted up locally to meet a need and has grown beyond the point of just being a mom and pop out of a garage, right? Your VIMs, your Deep Wells, your Memory Matters, great organizations. And they're gonna have very talented people too, but it might be a different set of needs that you get from the more corporate side. And then you've got where this is somebody's idea and they're just getting it going. And this might be somebody who was a successful nurse, but now they're running a nonprofit to protect sea turtles. Smart, capable person, organizational leadership and legal IRS compliance on a nonprofit, kind of a different thing. So we're gonna continue doing needs assessments on the different types of groups, and we're gonna meet them where they are, give them what they're asking for, and give them what the funders are saying that they're seeing.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, obviously, we continue to grow around here rapidly, as everybody here knows, just traffic back and forth alone. So looking at that situation, it brings a lot of opportunities with us as well as challenges out there. Maybe start with the challenges. What challenges do you see the growth in our area first, and then move on to the opportunities and then positive with that thought?
Sure. So I'm coming from a region that is on the back end of that cycle. When I graduated high school in 2000, Kern County had about 450,000 people. Today there's over 1 million. So I was there for that steep S curve on the growth. And you see when that happens that everybody gets all excited, there's a whole bunch of new construction goes in, but the infrastructure doesn't always keep pace and the support structures don't always keep pace. And philanthropy is an important part of how do you solve these growing pains. And then at the same time, how do you take a long-term view of what is this gonna look like if 30,000 more people move into Beaufort County? Or what if 100,000, 200,000 people, I mean, we're getting a Buc-ee's, right? That's at least 100,000 people. What does that look like in the future? And I think philanthropy's got an important role for that.
Clearly, Harry Williams must not be in the audience. I didn't hear the cheer to go when he said Buc-ee's, so that's an automatic. So, but there are challenges. What are the opportunities to go with that as we continue to grow throughout the entire area? Jasper County is considered the 3rd fastest growing county in the entire nation right now, but they still have a lot of challenges to them.
Right, the opportunities are good. Anytime there's volatility, which we have right now, you're gonna have opportunity. We could be out in front. I mean, if Jasper's already growing at this rate, and we can fill in the quality of life that is going to make people want to stay there after they've moved there for whatever reason, what do you have now? You have a growing community. You've got a community that's investing in itself if they're active in the nonprofit sector or the faith community or something like that. That's how you create that community. What you don't want is to lose that feel of a neighborhood where you know everybody, right? That's something that changed in Bakersfield. Is growing up, I knew everybody in the 6-block radius very well. By the time I left, I knew maybe like a third of the people in my neighborhood, and not just in the blocks around, like maybe. You don't want to lose that feel. So you have an opportunity during this growth to think about that end result you want and be deliberate about plotting how you get there.
Well, obviously, you've only been here 2 months, so they give me the last question for 2 months for you. What do you think about the next 5 to 10 years in the Lowcountry? I mean, you think that far, you're like, I'd like to think about tomorrow first, but obviously...
I was thinking of the cocktail hour.
Yeah, really. He's fitting right in, so... But I mean, that's the idea, is obviously 2 months in, you're beginning this process, but is there a 5 or 10-year look to this on where Community Foundation goes from here?
There is. I'm taking at least a decade minimum look here. You know, I moved here with a 6-year-old. She is now finishing up kindergarten. I would like her to finish high school here. So, Lord willing, be at the Community Foundation for quite a long time. So again, I like to start at the end result and work back. I think as a Community Foundation, in 10 years, if we are able to accomplish, we will be able to accomplish all of the things that we want to accomplish organizationally if we can help everybody else accomplish what they're trying to accomplish in our field. And I think that those things will feed off of each other. The more we can help other people be successful, whether that is addressing an immediate need, answering a disaster, growing something to have a long-term view on maybe it's something environmental or helping senior citizens or giving opportunities to kids. The more that we can be helpful in growing those things, the more we will have the ability to focus on the things that we think are important, which right now would be like housing. But we can't do that if we're not helping everybody else be successful. So in 10 years, if we have just racked up 150 victories, you know, large and small, on behalf of all of the nonprofits and companies and government that want to play in this field, if we can rack up all of those little wins, I know we're going to be able to do what we want to do. And then at the end of 10 years, that's going to be a victory.
That sounds good. I'm going to let you off my questions because you still have a cocktail to have and a great recipe to get outside. So along with everything else and everybody else in here, please give Aaron a big round of applause for everything he's been able to talk about. Now you have to give out a few awards on top of this too. So Aaron doesn't get one yet. He's only been here 2 months. So he already won a tournament. Come on, we can't keep him around now. Well, CFL's 2025 annual report is entitled Cultivating Futures, Enriching Lives, and it's very fitting for our next speaker. CFL proud to administer over 60 scholarship funds created by generous donors who provide scholarship awards for deserving students in the 4-county service area. CFL scholarship recipients frequently go on to successful college careers, and the entire community fortunate when one of those scholarship recipients returns to the Lowcountry to have an impact on younger generations. One of those scholarship recipients is Zach Waters. He's a 2019 Hilton Head Island High School graduate who's currently a Bible member at Hilton Head Christian Academy and a local representative for Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I've known Zach for a few years now, and he's a wonderful young man. It's my pleasure to introduce Zach Waters.
Good evening, everybody. Hey, thank you, Mr. Davis. As he said, we've known each other for quite a while now, and it's an honor to stand here in front of you all tonight. I'll just get rolling right into things. By the time my senior year rolled around, my dad sat me down. He looked at me and he said, "Son, college, it's a privilege, not a right. Your mom and I have invested in you every day of the whole of your life, and if you want to go to school, you got to pay your own way." So I got up from that conversation. I went over, I shook his hand. He looked at me. My dad is very encouraging. He's always poured into me. He said, "Son, you have what it takes. Go get it done. You can do it." And what's funny is that leading into that conversation, I didn't even really have a desire in my heart to go to school. But it lit a little bit of a fire under my rear end to see, hey, maybe I should think about this a little bit. I didn't see myself going into the military. And so I was at the top of my class. I was like, maybe this is possible. My mom pulled me to the side and she was like, "Hey, I've had a couple of friends of mine talk to me about the Community Foundation and the scholarships that they provide and the opportunities that could be afforded to you if you'd go and throw your name in a couple hats." So I threw my name in a couple college hats and a couple scholarship hats, and 4 said yes. Enough that my first year of college at Furman was entirely paid for, and off I went. I was running. I kind of came in a little fast too, maybe a little too fast. I had an aim in my first year at Furman that maybe I could run for my class's president's seat, and went into school with a little bit of hard work and some creativity that actually ended up happening. It was a really, remarkable first year in a lot of ways, but I also got a little ahead of myself in other ways. Pride crept in. I was successful there in college, and then into that first year of school, I made just a couple of, not like big mistakes, but the Lord definitely kind of grabbed a hold of my neck and started pulling me back. And COVID was a good wake-up call. COVID hit, and the world stopped, and that opportunity to be there on a campus came to a standstill. We never went back to school after spring break. And so there I was sitting. That summer, I decided to take a couple classes at Liberty online. And next thing I knew, 12 weeks had gone past, and I had finished half a year's worth of school. And I never actually decided to go back to Furman. And I continued at Liberty, where in the course of a year and a half, I was able to finish those remaining 3 years of school. So I was sitting there. At that point, I was recently engaged. I had already started working full-time for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and walking back into the community here as an online student meant that I was here. There was flexibility. I had this opportunity to engage the community that had poured so much into me. And I was sitting there and I thought, there's a little bit more that I might want to learn. I feel like I'm not fully prepared to be maybe the spiritual leader in this space that I'd like to. So I went back knocking to the Community Foundation, and some of those scholarships that had said yes to me. And I said, hey, I have a year and a half left of the commitment that you gave me. I'd love to try and go after a master's degree in Christian apologetics. And it took a little convincing. I didn't get a yes right away. But they did end up saying yes, just enough so that throughout the rest of that master's program, I didn't have to spend a single dollar on school. So some of what I want to stand before you and just be testament to is the fact that I never thought it was possible to walk out of school 100% debt-free. But because of people in this community who believe in youngsters, who have drive, who have vision, who have a willingness to go and learn, I got that opportunity. And so now one of the things that I said to every one of those scholarship committees in my initial letters to them was that, hey, I think that one day I'm going to be a worthy return on investment. And I feel like the opportunity that has been afforded me because I came out of school without any debt is that I was, as scripture would say, a free man, the borrower, a slave to the lender. But I didn't have to be. That meant that I could go and choose a little bit less monetarily focused and driven the jobs that I was going to do. And so in the last year or so, I've had the opportunity, thank you, Mayor Lisa Solka, for pointing me in this direction the year before I even said yes to it, and some other mentors, to be a Bible teacher to 122 students at Hilton Head Christian Academy, which has been, thank you. Throughout the course of the year, we're down 5, but I have 117 little rascals that I just absolutely adore. I love these kids, and it is such a privilege. My vocation is spiritual in nature, but so much of what I do is, it touches on every facet of life. I've been able to, for the last 5 school years, as an FCA rep in 9 schools at one point to now being centralized there at Hilton Head Christian Academy, to be a big brother in a lot of ways, to sit there and to pour my life back into young people. And so much of that is because people believed in me. Some of that conviction to go to school and to be excellent was because I knew that there were people standing behind me, rooting me on, that put their hard-earned money on my account and behalf. So to the 4 scholarship committees, to the Caden family, to the Webster family, to the Crom, to the Heritage Foundation, I really just want to say thanks a million. I want to say thank you on behalf of my wife, my 2 boys, Shepherd and Oak, because our financial circumstance and the opportunities that I've been afforded in life are in large a part of some of the belief that you placed in me. So it's such a privilege to stand here in front of all of you and just to be testament that this foundation is making a real difference, and it made a real difference in my life. So thanks a million.
Zach. Zach is just a testament to why we do what we do. And we're grateful that you came back to speak to us. Thank you so much. And now for our grand finale. The presentation of the Joan and Wade Webster Community Impact Award. In 2022, longtime supporters of the Community Foundation of the Lowcountry, Joan and Wade Webster, had an idea to create an award that recognized a volunteer who was making a positive difference in CFL's 4-county service region. This idea resulted in a generous gift from the Websters to establish the Community Impact Award. The annual winner receives a $10,000 grant to bestow upon a charity or charities of their choice. Joan, Wade, would you stand? Just say hi. They'll find you. They'll find you at the reception. Thank you for your commitment, your continuing commitment to the Community Foundation of the Lowcountry. In the 4 years since the award's creation, awareness and interest has grown and nominations have increased year after year. As a member of the award selection committee, I have the privilege to review every nomination, along with Joan and Wade. I continue to be impressed by the depth and breadth of the nominees and their commitments to their respective organizations. We are so blessed. We had 36 remarkable individuals nominated. We are very privileged to have some of the prior winners here. Bob Elliott, would you stand and be recognized, please? Ray Black. You're here somewhere. Thank you. And I didn't see Dave Martin. I don't know if he's here. Is Dave here? So those are the 3 prior winners. Amazing individuals in their own right. It was a very hard nominating process, I will tell you. We went through three rounds of discussions, very deep discussions, I will say, until we found whom we thought was exactly the right candidate. And I hope that you will agree with us once you see this video.
I usually describe OpVob as we have 268 acres where we have created an outdoor retreat for veterans and first responders and their family members to come out, regain the camaraderie they miss the most when they leave service, and rebuild that tribe so that they have the community to lean on when times get tough. When Craig first came to us, it was within our first year of operating, and JR and I started this organization out of a need, but running a nonprofit was not something that we had any experience in. So early on, Craig came in as really a mentor to kind of show us what we needed to be doing, how we needed to be doing it, kind of giving us a good blueprint of what it means to run a nonprofit, because he has a lot of experience in them. So early on, it was a huge help just having him be able to give us that information and knowledge to continue to grow so that we've been able to do so. He was on as our treasurer for a little while. He comes weekly to our executive committee meetings and is just very involved in all of the events and activities that we do in the FOB.
To be honest, I don't think OpFob would be where we're at without Craig's efforts. He's brought a wealth of knowledge to the team. This was new for all of us. He's been a tireless advocate for OpFob and a tireless fundraiser for OpFob. So we wouldn't have what we have today without his involvement.
Craig's dedication is the mission, which is for veteran and first responder suicide prevention, to stop that. His goal, in the goal of JR and Stephanie, all the folks out here on the executive team, is to go ahead and keep this place open, available for veterans and first responders, 100% free of charge. But Craig's whole heart is to go ahead and ensure that when people step foot on this place, is they know they have a community, they know they're loved, they know they're cared for, and they know this is a safe place, a place where we could meet, a place where we could share, and his heart exudes that wherever he goes.
As soon as folks drive through our gates, that they know it's a special place, and they know it's a safe place, and they know that they can share their past, they can share their darkest secrets if they wish, but they know they're not going to be judged. They know they're going to be accepted and loved on.
OpFob has given me a purpose again. After I left the fire service, things are just different for a while. The people here are special. This place is special. And it just, it gives you a sense of purpose and a sense of something bigger than yourself. And that's what I like. I like to give back and help where I can.
Craig has not only been a mentor or coach to me personally just for OpFob. Craig has been more of a father figure to me. I've been able to talk with Craig and work with Craig through many different personal issues that I've had, spiritual side of everything, obviously leadership, a little bit of everything. Craig truly is one of the biggest reasons that we're still here. If Stephanie and I were still trying to run this ourselves, if Craig didn't come on so early on, we would probably not be sitting here today. Craig was able to initially, again, start to help us with the fundamentals and the basics of setting up a board and running a board meeting and the simple things, and then the fundraising aspect. Craig has given so much to this community and to so many others that when he picks up the phone and calls them back for sponsorship opportunities or ways to support the FOB, they usually instantly do it because he's done it for them. But it's hard to put into words what Craig truly means to me. Craig is just one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met.
Craig's had a profound impact. Craig is a man that has had a generational impact. Not just here on the FOB, he's been here and a visionary here. Quite honestly, the FOB would not be where it is today without Craig. And his impact, not just here, his impact on my generation, but I watch it as he engages with his peers. I watch it as he engages out in the community and how people revere him with that. But it's also his family. And I watch how he engages all the way down with his grandsons and their friends with where it is. And it has created a generational type of an impact from that one great man.
Craig is one of the most selfless people I know. If you were to look at his whole entire life background, it's all about giving back, giving back. But his passion for veterans, him being a Vietnam veteran himself, his understanding that no veteran should be alone.
During the time I was here at the barn for coffee and camaraderie, I met Craig Ostergaard. And after we chatted for about 15, 20 minutes and I was asking questions about OpFob and what the mission was, he invited me to breakfast that following Thursday morning. And when we met in Bluffton and sat down and talked, about an hour and a half later, I had no doubt that I had found a purpose coming out here to OpFob, to be able to serve, to be able to give back to veterans, and to be able to have a purpose beyond the call of duty.
The way that he has the ability to talk to people and bring them into OpFob and some of the sponsors and everywhere from some of the bigger sponsors to just a veteran. If he finds out that somebody's struggling or just needs somebody to talk to, he will go and just sit and talk to him. He has no boundaries as far as who only talk to this person or that person. And he has such a way about him when he does talk to you that you just feel like you're with a friend and that everything's going to be okay.
It's typical when you serve, you end up getting a lot more out of it than you pour into it. And so OpFob's been great. It's impacted me significantly. It's impacted all of my family members and a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends that didn't serve have become supporters of OpFob because they love our vision and they love our mission. Well, if you're a veteran, if you're active duty, military, if you're a first responder, or if you're a family member of one of those groups that I just mentioned, and you've not been out to OpFob, I can't encourage you enough to come out here. It is a game changer, folks.
So Craig told me, I stopped over his house for something the other day, and he said, you know, you nominated me for the Joan and Wade Webster Community Impact Award, and they chose me, but don't tell anyone. And I was so excited, and he had a cold, and I gave him a hug after he said, don't come near me, I have a cold. But I was so excited because he deserves this. He gives, and it's not just the veterans, it's not just his church community, it's anyone in need. Craig steps up to the plate. I think, you know, our flagpole is even in honor of Craig here. So he was very excited. And I think everyone, when they find out that Craig was chosen, will 100% agree you couldn't have picked a finer man.
It is my distinct honor as a former Navy nurse to invite Craig Ostergaard to join me for receipt of this prestigious award. And how worthy a nominee is he.
I'll be very brief. This is it's very humbling. You know, we've been blessed at OpFob. We have a great team, We have about 2,500 volunteers. I mean, it's amazing. And the good Lord has had his hand on OpFob since day one. And Stephanie and JR had this vision, and I'd been looking for, you know, I was thankful I survived Vietnam. I was an infantry officer, and the life expectancy, it's a moving target. Some say it was minutes, some say it was days. I wanted to give back. I was thankful I survived. So I looked, you know, we've been in Beaufort County for 42 years. And no coincidence, Local Magazine ran a 4-page spread on OpFob in August of 2020. And my wife, Andrew, brought it up to the man cave and said, honey, is this what you've been looking for? JR's number was in there. I called him. We met at OpFob the next day on the property, and the rest is history. So this really goes to our team, and I'm grateful for it.
Now, I don't believe there's anything standing between you and a cocktail, so let's go celebrate. Thank you for being here.
Well, just to wrap it up, we'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to say again, congratulations to Craig. Lynn, you know, I have a whole speech here left, but Lynn's ready for a cocktail, everybody. So Craig's an amazing man. I've gotten a chance to work with him at OpFob for several years now, and the biggest thing is that everybody who's walked on that property has walked back off and is alive and well today in part to what you're doing. So thank you so much for what you, JR, Stephanie, the entire OpFob team is doing. It's an amazing, amazing program. Get to know what they're doing over there. But a special thanks to all our Art Center crew for making this all happen, as well as Zach Waters for his inspiring speech, and the Junior Jazz Foundation for everything they did. Remember, you've got a QR code on the back of your program that links to the Touch Tomorrow Fund donation page. That supports CFL's grant making in the 4 counties that we're in. Of course, thanks all of you for coming in today, and please stay for the reception as well for the dividends sponsored by Dividend Assets Capital, taking place in the lobby. I'm not going to say any more. Lynn already's got you for a drink. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.